Council President Bruce. Here. Council Member Rocco.
Here.
Council Member McPherson.
Here.
Mayor Steer.
Here, and if you'll join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, first item is the consent agenda. Questions or comments?
I'm good. I'm good.
I move we approve the consent agenda as published.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded for approval. Is there any further discussion on that motion? Nathan, would you poll the council?
Council President Bruce.
Yes.
Council Member Rocco.
Yes.
Council Member McPherson.
Yes.
And that motion carries. Next, we have public comment. I had Gail Czar signed up.
There we go. Okay, I've written it down, so I'm gonna read it and not look at you guys. I'm sorry, I know sometimes I stumble over my words, so I thought this would be best.
Ms. Czar, can you state your name and address
Yes,
for the record? Thank you.
Gail Czar, 412 East Boise Street, here in Cuna. And I know I have the time limit, so just let me know. Okay, so I wanted to ask for 3 updates and then share an observation. So the first update that I'd like to ask for, some time ago there was an accident involving the police officer and a motorcycle, and if the chief asked for funds in order to expedite to secure a specific model that was available here locally. It was on social media, people were grumbling. It was my understanding that was done due to insurance process sometimes being excessive, and in the end, the money would shake out. So I was just wondering if we could get an update to address how the funds were expended, have they been returned, what was the insurance coverage. In recent second update requests, in recent meetings there have been comments about older projects and the expressed desires to have some sort of expiration on approvals. And I know, Mayor, that you've indicated that you're working with staff. What I would appreciate is if we could get an update with timelines. Ultimately, what I'd like to know is when is it expected that new guidelines will be implemented for old projects, when they'll be adopted for new projects, and at what phase in the project will the time clock begin. The final update request, this one's easy. I don't even have to look at my notes. What happened with the bid on the gym? What's my time?
Wait, I'm sorry, what happened with what?
The bid on the
4th
gym?
Street gym.
Well,
The
we,
gym.
4th Street Gym?
Yeah. Okay, perfect. And then, I said, if time permits, I'd like to also address the lawsuit that related to the proposed data center site. As you'll recall, the rezone hearing lasted late into the evening and it drew extensive public testimony. A clear majority of those who spoke were opposed to the rezone, while those in support were largely family members, friends, or individuals who did not live in Cuna. Despite the considerable time and effort invested by residents in fulfilling their civic duty, the vote ended in a 2-2 tie with the mayor breaking it. It grieves me, I come here and it seems like often public concerns are dismissed on the grounds of avoiding litigation, but yet here we are, we're facing a lawsuit. Please know I offer these comments with respect for the difficult role that you serve in. But I will plea with you, please do not allow the fear of potential litigation to outweigh your responsibility to represent the residents who elected you. Showing up means listening, weighing the input seriously, and making decisions grounded in the interests of the community you serve, not in the apprehension of what might happen if you do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Was there anybody else who wished to address the council? Okay, thank you. All right, that takes us to the commitment to volunteerism proclamation. Whereas we firmly believe that the values of compassion, empathy, and community support are the foundation of the United harmonious society and fosters connections that transcend differences. And whereas the strength and prosperity of Idaho cities and towns are based on the selflessness of its residents who serve and uplift one another. Whereas we acknowledge the profound impact that can be achieved when we extend a helping hand to our neighbors and lifting them up and collectively working to improve lives. And whereas we would like to nurture a culture of giving within our city, emphasizing that volunteerism is not just a duty, but a source of personal fulfillment and community strength as we work side by side with and learn from each other, mutual understanding increases and misconceptions can be corrected, and the new friendships are built. Whereas we urge all citizens to care for one another, volunteer, and engage in acts of service and kindness that contribute to our city's betterment and its inhabitants' well-being regardless of background or belief. Whereas the city of Kuna has joined a growing list of supporters, including the president of the National League of Cities and hundreds of leaders to date in making a commitment to volunteerism. Now therefore, I, Joe Steer, Mayor of the city of Kuna, do hereby proclaim that the city of Kuna commits to promoting volunteerism and encouraging the use of justserve.org to make it easier for residents to find and engage in volunteer opportunities, and will regularly acknowledge and celebrate the contributions of our volunteers. And that's the proclamation. I just want to say this is something that in the city we tried to put together years ago to connect people who want to do volunteer work to organizations that need it, and we were never really able to get that up and running. This is something that works and is up and running and is very helpful throughout many communities in Idaho. And so justserve.org is the name, and it makes it easier to connect with all those folks. And I don't know if you would like to step up and say anything.
Good evening, Mayor Spears and City Council and community members. My name is Heather Rackham, and I serve as the Kuna Area Just Serve Specialist. For those of you who may not be familiar, Just Serve is a free website and an app that connects people with meaningful opportunities to volunteer and serve in their communities. Tonight, the mayor signed a proclamation recognizing the city of Kuna prioritizes volunteerism and the important role its service plays in strengthening this community. The timing is really meaningful, I think, especially as we celebrate Kuna Kindness Week. And the Just Serve City Designation Award is a recognition given to cities that demonstrate an exceptional commitment to volunteerism and actively promote service opportunities in their community. Typically, the award takes a little bit of time to be granted after a city signs a volunteerism proclamation. But because of Kuna's strong commitment to service and the timing behind the Kuna Kindness Week, the Just Serve headquarters expedited the process so we could celebrate this recognition with you tonight. So Kuna, I brought with me tonight a few people who have rendered service and support that in the Kuna area. I have members of the Kuna Food Bank who are here. The Kuna community last year, or in November, collected just under 50,000 pounds of food to donate to the food bank and other needed service areas. Just Serve is always asking me how Kuna does that, and there's plenty of people here in the audience tonight who help with that big project. I have community members here who faithfully help to organize that effort, volunteers here who coordinate quarterly Red Cross blood drives, and organizers of a community clothing exchange are here tonight, which have served over 1,000 people over the last couple of years, have provided free clothing for people to come to that event. These efforts represent just a really small number of things that people here in our community are doing. I also think this recognition comes at a meaningful time as we approach America 250 celebration. The communities across Idaho are working toward a goal of 250,000 acts of service to honor our nation's founding. CUNA's culture of kindness and volunteerism plays a really important role in that. So tonight, I would actually like to award you, I forgot to grab it, with the Just Serve City Award. And with that comes this lovely framed award, but also our commitment to help promote volunteerism in CUNA and using Just Serve. And if you don't mind, I would love if you could get a picture. If anybody that wants to, if the city council. But thank you for helping to participate and share love and
Thank you
kindness
very much.
in our
Appreciate
work.
it. Come on in, Greg.
Anyone else? Don't be shy.
We never get in the pictures, we always run.
Thank you. We appreciate it so
Thank you
much.
so
We're
much.
excited to work together and continue to make
All right.
CUNA a great place. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question and a comment for,
Sure.
yeah. First of all, I just wanted to say, and thank for all the volunteers. I have personal experience from the East Coast working with Just Serve, and I also know that it's a worldwide initiative. And from a personal point of view, I always get frustrated because sometimes we all are so independent that we have a difficult time finding opportunities to serve because people just can't seem to, they're not ready to receive service. And so this is a great opportunity for those that are frustrated that they want to give and they can't seem to find an outlet for it. And the other question I had for you is I was at the Capitol and there was a presentation, award given to the governor. Would you just share with that as to why was the governor given an award? Was it because Idaho is had the most cities that are participating with Just Serve? Do you know?
I do believe that is correct, and I also believe that award was in conjunction with the America 250.
Mhm.
I could be wrong on there.
Do you
I wasn't
remember?
able to be at that event
Yeah.
specifically. But Idaho is like the initial state that has collaborated with Just Serve in promoting volunteerism through America 250 as well.
All right, thank you.
Both of those.
Thanks for your service.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, well, thank you again, we appreciate it very much, and these connections are so important, so. All right,
Mr. Mayor, I do have another
Yes.
question. Related to public comment, so that I understand, so Ms. Czar actually put forward some questions, looking for updates. When is it that we actually address those questions? Is it get pushed to the next agenda? Is it something that you take on I'm just curious as to how.
we can do that on, normally don't have that much, so we can put that on and talk about it at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that takes us to public hearings. Case number 2506, preliminary plat, Test Manor subdivision. Troy.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. For the record, Troy B. Hunan, Senior Planner, CUNA DSD, Development Services Department. Staff would like to take the first minute to just correct a scrivener's error on the agenda and the preliminary, or on the staff report. The case number actually is 25-06-S. I believe the agenda states -PP for preliminary plat, but it is in fact an S. The sign-in sheets do have it correctly stated as 25-06-S.
Mr. Mayor, could you explain that for Councilman Rocco?
Yeah.
Yeah, you wanna-
Councilmember Rocco, do you have any questions about it, or?
I'm looking for, maybe I don't understand that. So.
Yeah,
So-
Jansen.
Sorry, for the record, Doug Hansen, Planning and Zoning Director. So starting with case numbers in 2026, we moved towards switching it from, so the subdivision essentially is a culmination of many things. It's the culmination of the zoning, the preliminary plat, the actual act of subdividing the land physically. When we move forward with naming conventions beginning in the calendar year, we wanted to switch it to -PP because when we're specifically looking at the preliminary plat, we want to make sure that's clear. So moving forward, starting with case number 26-01-PP, where you used to see subdivision, you will see preliminary plat.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, you may continue.
Continuing on, so this application before you this evening is requesting preliminary plat approval for approximately 7.8 acres already in the Cuna city limits and has an existing R8 zone designation, zone. And that means that it's the medium density residential. They are requesting preliminary plat approval in order to subdivide these lands into 32 single-family lots and 9 common lots, and to dedicate public rights-of-way for the streets. The design review application for the common lots was approved by the commission on December 9th, 2025. The site is located near the southwest corner of the intersection of Ardell and K Avenue. This is the most recent proposal for a near infill project, and it completes a project from many, many years ago. Staff has reviewed the proposed preliminary plat for compliance with Cuna City Code, Idaho State statutes, and the Cuna Comprehensive Plan, and should the council approve the preliminary plat application, staff recommends that the applicant be subject to the conditions that are recommended and outlined in staff's memo. And I will be here if you have any questions for staff, and I know that Dave Crawford, who represents the applicant, is also present. With that, I'll
Okay.
rest.
Questions for Troy before we bring up the applicant? Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Before we move into questions, for transparency, I'd like to note that I serve as president of the Sterling Ranch HOA, one of the nearby neighborhoods that could experience traffic impacts. I don't have a financial interest in this application, but I wanted that relation to be disclosed for the record.
Very good, thank you.
Okay.
I had a question, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
On the preliminary plat memorandum, it says, based on the land use allowed or permitted in R6 zones. Is it R6 or is it R8?
For the record, Troy Behunin, senior planner, it is an R6 zone.
But didn't you just say R8?
Yeah, you did say all right.
You said R8 when you were presenting.
Yeah.
You meant R6?
I'm sorry if I did. It should be R8. My paper says R6, so okay, but I'll take your word for it.
So is it R8 or is it R6?
It is R6.
Okay.
All right, anything further for Troy? All right, Mr. Crawford, would you like to present?
Mayor, members of the council, my name's David Crawford with Centurion Engineers, 2323 South Vista Avenue in Boise. I'm thankful for the opportunity to be here to present our preliminary plat for Test Manor subdivision. We've appreciated the work, the opportunity to work with staff and the ability to design a project that aligns with CUNA's code and its long-term visions. We've reviewed the staff report, agree with the conditions of approval as presented. And just to follow up with what Troy said, the Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval of the preliminary plat. I'll just get into a little bit of the overview of the project. Perhaps I could wheel down to where it actually is. Property is a little over 7 acres. It's already annexed into the city of Cuna. It's zoned R6. We're proposing 32 single-family lots along with 9 common lots. We're providing public streets, water, sewer, and pressure irrigation infrastructure from the city of Cuna's public utility system. We have provided for significant open space in this development, and we have strong vehicular and pedestrian connectivity. Public Works has confirmed that they have adequate capacity to serve this development. I should note about here that a couple of years ago we had presented this project to you. It had many more lots in it than it does today. We had over 40 lots presented. They were townhome lots, and it wasn't very well received. So we brought it forward after a number of years of sitting idle in a single-family home scenario that's more in keeping with the fabric of the neighborhood. This was kind of a remnant parcel from the Sable Ridge development that occurred a number of years ago, and it's just sat here vacant and has been subject to a bunch of cut-through traffic and other things that are irritants to the neighbors. So with the development, we'd at least be able to stop that. Not that that's much of a a benefit to the neighborhood, but at least some of that cut-through traffic that was noted would go away. I would like to note that the connectivity of this site was really hamstrung us. We had very little design potential. It's funny shaped. It's got 3 stub streets, one to the south here, one about midway, and one way at the northwest, and it's kind of an elbow. So it also has a finger that follows the canal adjoining our northeasterly border out to Ardell and all the way down to K Avenue. We have provided for a stub street or a connection to K Avenue that aligns with the adjoining subdivision to the east. So that's a quick overview of that. Let's see if we can get here today. So the project north is to the left here. If I have to state some directions, this is unusual. Most of the time we try and get north to the top of the page. But we have centralized open space. That's right here at the intersection of the canal and K. That is about midway through the development. We've got pedestrian connectivity pathways that go through that open space and connect from K all the way through to Ardell Road. We've provided for a paved pathway that will make that connection, and it's outside of any irrigation easement. The improved access for the residents here, all these long stub streets that dead end currently will be continued, and so they'll have better access to K Avenue for emergency services and also for the neighborhood. We're pretty proud of the ability to be able to get that pathway all the way through. That's normally not something we can do, but it was wide enough where we could stay outside of the easement. We have coordinated with the school district and have committed to establishing a partnership that benefits the district and its students. And we're committed to mitigation that supports the district's needs. In our Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, we heard a lot about the lot sizes being much smaller and it was too dense and all these things. And I just want to reiterate that we've brought this project back with much less density than we did the first time. It's all single-family homes. R6 zoning in the city of Kuna requires 4,000 square feet minimum. Every lot in Test Manor exceeds that minimum. The smallest lot on this site is 5,700 square feet. It's about 142% of that minimum. The largest lot is 10,000 square feet. The average lot size overall is 6,500 square feet, exceeding the minimum by 163%. Most of the lots in Sable Ridge run approximately 7,000 square feet. The proposed lots are consistent with the neighborhood fabric. We understand that traffic is a common concern in Kuna and throughout the Treasure Valley. Growth has affected us all. However, code developments under 50 lots are not required to provide off-site traffic mitigation, but what this project does provide, we provide the frontage improvements along our public roadways, completion of the stub streets that benefit the broader public, a critical connection to K Avenue being the most beneficial of that. We're also required to provide a trust fund for the west half bridge widening of K Avenue that will occur in the future. Additionally, the development will contribute about $200,000 in impact fees towards public street improvements. Test Manor meets all the requirements of Kuna City Code. We believe that it's an attractive addition to the city of Kuna and a positive complement to the existing neighborhood. It will also provide much-needed housing within the community. We respectfully request approval of Test Manor subdivision, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, questions for Mr. Crawford?
At this time.
I do, sorry, I do, Mr. Mayor. I was looking through the packet that we have. At what level are you required to do a TIS study?
Over 50 lots. Or 50 lots or over, if I'm not mistaken. It used to be 50.
And what are the, I have another one.
Go ahead, yes.
What are the surrounding housing? What's the zoning around it?
Mayor, Councilmember Bruce, this entire area from what I was looking at earlier today is R6 zoning.
No further ones at this time.
I do have some questions, if you don't mind.
Yes, Councilmember.
So, and maybe it's all evident here, but when you look at, so obviously you're gonna exit off of K, and then what about when they're going through Sable Ridge? I'm looking at Ridgestone and maybe East Sable Ridge Drive. Where are they ultimately ending up? Are they ultimately ending up to Linder?
Councilmember Rocco, Mr. Mayor, let's see, that is Linder Road to the west and Ardell Road to the north and K Avenue to the east. So those are the collector streets that everybody's going out to north of town. And then I believe that's Deer Flat to the south, which people headed south will hit from the collector road standpoint.
Right, but if this development, if they were traveling through Sable Ridge and they're heading west, where are they gonna end up? Are they gonna end up on Linder?
Yes,
Okay. And is it more than one road that takes them to Linder?
there are a number of roads there's one road that crosses between two different developments here that gets all of Sable Ridge out through that next development to Linder Road. So there's only one connecting road between those two original developments.
Right. And when you talk about heading south to Deer Flat, you have K that is not all the way through yet. And so K is, I think it's like 3-4 years that'll actually be through. So they really don't have access to Deer Flat. It's gonna have to be circumventing through Ardell to Meridian, I guess?
That's a really good question. I haven't really studied the overall traffic patterns, but K Avenue is completed, I believe, I'd have to take a look at an aerial photo. But I know that it does have access out to Deer Flat Road, which could take either direction, east, west, and north.
Right, but not through K though.
Correct.
Currently, it's
That
not
may
through
be-
K.
That may be correct. I'm not sure if
Right.
K intersection is built or not. The K and Ardell intersection.
Okay, thank you.
No further ones at this time.
All right, thank you. All right, this is a public hearing, and I had a couple of people signed up to testify. Marlene Henry. If you would, just state your name and address for the record, please, and you may have the floor. Just push the base once.
Marlene Henry, 580 East Ridgestone Drive, Cuna, Idaho. I brought some papers, and I can give any of you a paper if you would like. There's 2 of them together. But every time I've tried to talk to people about this, I've been told that my information is incorrect. And so I did a little in-depth digging in the CCNRs. And I was told that all the houses that were being built were gonna have to be 1,600 square feet. And even in our own CCNRs, and you can each have a copy if you'd like, the minimum for 1-story house is 1,340. When my house was built in '04, and we bought it in '06, it was just barely 2 years old. It was $1,394. We couldn't get a walker around the bedroom, in the bedroom, so we added 88 square feet more. So now we have 1,482. And so that, And then down below that, B, 1,600 square feet minimum for any two-story homes. And the reason that I'm concerned about this is that since my property is gonna have all of these new houses built right behind it, are they still 60 feet wide, your lots? And if you tried to cram a 1,600 square foot house on that lot, you would end up having 2 stories, because then you're blocking everybody that lives along there, because they're all, I looked it up, and I would say that at least 2/3 of the subdivision are this smaller square foot. And, you know, if they want to build big houses, they can build them over by the canal, because nobody cares over there, so. But it's, that was one of my main concerns, about it. My lot is 64 feet by 100, and all of our lots, generally are 100 feet wide. So this is gonna be 40 feet, so I would have a house and a half behind me. So I was just a little concerned about that, and how that was going to work out. But it's, I have no objections to filling it in. The reason that a lot of our houses are smaller is the reason why so many of us are seniors in the neighborhood. And when young ones move in, they live there for 2 or 3 years, they start having kids, and they move out to get into a bigger home. So our neighborhood is generally very quiet, and we like it that way. So, and if any of you want one of these?
If you want to, you can give it to the clerk, and then they can.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I might.
Yeah.
Mark Bybee, City Attorney. I gotta clarify, is that document being added to the official record in this? Because if it is, technically, I would ask the applicant, because they have a chance to rebut, you know, any testimony, and they've never seen this. It wasn't in the packet before the hearing, so if we're gonna drop something new into the packet, are we gonna table this and continue it? And I think since the applicant would be the most affected party by that, I'd at least inquire as to their position on that.
So are you were suggesting to go ahead and pass it out to council then? I was just gonna have them give it to the clerk, because she wanted to hand it off, so.
I guess what I'm getting at is, what did that mean by handing it off? Are we adding it to the packet or not? Is this part of the record? Is it something that should be, you know, reflected in the record
Well,
of
I
these
would say
proceedings?
probably not, unless council has it as part of the record.
Okay, so then I guess then I'd put it to the council entirely, as are we asking to have this added to this document added to the record? I know I'm being stuffy here, but this matters on things that make it to judicial review. If a document gets presented in the middle of the hearing, we gotta decide, is it part of the hearing packet, is it part of the record, or is it not?
And the reasoning is because copies need to be available for everyone.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Doug, is this the same developer that built the neighborhood that's behind it, or is it a new developer?
For the record, Doug Hansen, Planning and Zoning Director. I believe this is an entirely new developer.
So the question would be, does council want that, or do you want to just go with the testimony that was given on the mic?
I'd rather just go with the testimony.
Is that good for you?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
So just for clarity, that is not part of the record.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
All right, Mary Ann Michelson.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Mary Ann Michelson. I live in the Sable Ridge subdivision at 513 East Ridgestone Drive in Kuna. And the reason I'm here tonight is I am requesting additional conditions of approval for this project that may not be listed in your packets. The developer verbally agreed at our neighborhood meeting to these on May 14th, on these first two items. And the first item has to do with access to the job site. We as a group, we were requesting that they should be, access should be taken off of North K Avenue and the proposed inlay street, with only emergency access through the existing streets within the Sable Ridge subdivision. North K is better suited to handle traffic generated during construction. And I think that information is in the application's material packet. And the second item that the developer agreed to is dust mitigation. Per Idaho Department of Environmental Quality, please ensure that the developer submits a dust mitigation plan to the city so that the existing residents, they don't have to worry about cleaning their house or paying someone to clean their house because of the additional dust. And please have this done before any construction of any homes. And then the next item that I wanted to request is to please do not approve this project until the developer has come to an agreement with the CUNA School District. Mr. Crawford did mention something about that, but I have not been able to find a record that they have come into an agreement with the school district. The school district's already overcrowded. It's highly unlikely another bond is gonna pass, and the developer, the growth should have to pay for itself. The developer should have to contribute, so the citizens don't have to hopefully contribute as much. And the last comment I wanted to make is Mr. Crawford indicated that the development would cut down on the cut-through traffic. But in actuality, the opposite is true, because if the cut-through traffic uses a dirt path now, so vehicles have to voluntarily go off the road to cut through. So if you were to pave the street there, that would just increase the cut-through traffic to people who are comfortable driving just on the cement road. So we would have more traffic coming through our street.
Mr. Mayor, I have a
Okay,
question.
yes.
Sorry. Can you clarify what intersection you're talking about that you would have to drive off? Is it
It's K and Ridgestone, I guess. Whoops, sorry. Can I show you on?
I got it right here.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And next person we have is Tim Jensen.
Tim Jensen with CUNA School District, 711 East Porter Street here in CUNA. First time I've ever had to start off my testimony with an apology. It was my oversight that you guys don't have a letter in your packet. I composed it on December 8th, and for whatever reason it didn't make it. I sent it over to Troy just a little bit ago to be able to have on file, but that was my oversight, and I'll own
Probably
that.
got stuck in that little vacuum tube.
No, I apologize, and you know, it's only February, and I've already got my one mistake for the year out of the way. So, but I can address the last one. The developer has agreed to work with the district, and going back a couple weeks ago, I know Councilman Bruce was talking about the MOUs being finalized. There hasn't even been one composed yet on this. You know, the developer we've met a couple times and talked about possible projects. They have agreed to work with us, and one of the areas that we've talked about them working with us is some of the safety features needed for the district, and mainly like perimeter fencing. The building that I'm principal at Fremont Middle School, right there by the district office, it's just a wide open field that people, and you know, not knowing or no ill intentions. But we constantly have people walking on and off of our campus and Hubbard Elementary's campuses. And so one of the things we're looking at is putting up some perimeter fencing. So that was one of the projects that we were talking with the developer about. And so, you know, we do have an agreement. We don't have the MOU in place yet, but, you know, talking to Mr. Crawford and talking to the developers, I'm positive it's something we can come to an agreement on in a short matter of time. I do understand that one of the gentlemen that I'm working with, he's out with a medical issue right now, and so trying to be conscious of that as well. So anyway, I just wanted to, my testimony tonight is just reiterating what was written in the letter, that there is an agreement to do it, but as of right now, you know, we just haven't settled on the terms of what those projects would be and where they would be and stuff for the district, so.
Okay. Questions for Mr. Gans?
I have none. No, sir, thank you.
I have a question for Mark Libby.
Oh, okay. Are we done with?
Yeah.
Mr. June? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then I didn't have anybody
Don't
else
ask
sign
me.
up to
Okay.
testify. Is there anybody who wishes to? Okay, if you wanna grab the sheet here and sign your name on it while he's asking a question,
Yes.
that'll work.
When should I ask?
Once we get to,
Okay, yeah, I'll hold off on that question.
Okay, and then if you wanna just go ahead and take the mic and state your name and address for the record.
Joseph Purcell, 395 East Screech Owl Drive in Cuna. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. I'm a property owner in the Birds of Prey subdivision, which is just west of the Sable Ridge subdivision. And I live at the corner of Screech Owl Drive and Duck Hawk Avenue, which is the main entrance into the Sable Ridge, what Councilmember Bruce was asking about to the west. My concern is based on documented conditions that in 2024, I reached out to ACHD, John Watson at the Highway District, and I requested a traffic study there at the intersection due to safety concerns. A lot of traffic go through that area into Sable Ridge. They evaluated it with the cables. They confirmed that it was it was strained. So they did install stop signs at that intersection. Now we're dealing with a lot more traffic there. My concern is also all the traffic getting to the elementary school. That area, new houses up there, everything is going to Reed Elementary, and they're at capacity already with the dismissal times, and there's access in the Birds of Prey to the school there, and everybody parks there, drops their kids off because they can't get into the parking lot already because it's already at capacity. So we're dealing with a lot of traffic from other subdivisions from the north or wherever they service that. So I'm basically want you guys to really think about the access to and from that new subdivision. They're talking about going in through K. I think that's a good idea. So there is another access point, because there's only real 3 access points to and from all of that community area. Also, the Deer Flat, there's no access from K Street to there, and also that white area there is private property, and you cannot get from Ardell, dead ends on Ardell. I have a lot more written down, but my biggest concern was just the traffic flow. I did talk to John Watson again today at ACHD and asked him to do another traffic study to try to mitigate some of the speed and traffic that happens on Duck Hawk itself, like I say, people from other subdivisions are just ripping through there, trying to get their kids to and from Reed Elementary. Adding 32 new houses in there is gonna obviously impact more traffic, and having that only one access between Birds of Prey and Sable Ridge is a problem in my opinion, especially being right at the corner, right at that stop sign. So, thank you for your time.
Okay, you bet.
I have a question.
Yeah,
Thank you, by the way. Does Ardell connect, I'm looking at the Google Maps, does Ardell connect all the way across when it comes to the stop sign at K? Does it go all the way over to Linder?
No.
It does not, no, there's a canal there that is, and there's private property, the parcel has never been bought, and there's no bridge over the canal. There's a walking path only that is private property, but yes, I honestly, that needs to be built out in some way, shape, or form, so, and then also the access down to Deer Flat. I know that that's probably on the city's agenda. Thank you.
was there anybody else who wished to testify and didn't get a chance to sign up? Okay. If you wanna ask your question,
Yeah.
Mark, maybe I'm just trying to understand, like you were talking about the example of, is that gonna be submitted into the record? How's that affect the packet? When he talks about not having his school letter in the packet, does that mean that the packet gets amended?
Mark Bybee, City Attorney. No, the fact that he missed the agenda deadline, I would say that letter it simply exists in Troy's email inbox at this point and is not part of the record. So if there's to be like a judicial review on this, that wouldn't be part of the record. That'd be sent to the court that would be reviewing the matter.
Okay, thank you.
although the testimony is part of the record, so.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Crawford.
Mayor, members of the council, David Crawford, Centurion Engineers, 2323 South Vista Avenue. Perhaps before I get started, I'd like to ask Marlene a quick question, if you don't mind, just to clarify her testimony.
Sure.
Were you asking for a minimum lot size in our subdivision that would mirror yours?
I wanted to know if it had changed from the 60-foot wide lot, because ours are kind of.
Okay. Mayor, members of the council.
So if you would repeat what she said, just so it's on
Yeah.
the record, please.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so what she was asking for was to match the minimum 60-foot lot size, that 60-foot wide lot size, and I think she had mentioned that most of them were 100-foot deep. We have not presented that proposal here. We have many 50-foot wide lots, some that are over. So to keep our established density at where it is, that's kind of where we'd want to be in that environment. As far as Ms. Michelson's request for those conditions of approval, we did agree to them. Currently, for the first two, the dust mitigation is required by Idaho State Code. Through the Clean Water Act enforcement, we are required to file a notice of intent to construct 2 weeks prior to any construction occurring on a site that disturbs more than 1 acre. It's a state-issued monitored permit. We're required to provide a stormwater pollution prevention plan, which does include dust mitigation. We are required to do reporting and maintenance on all our stormwater best management practices. That's all administered through the state. It was previously administered through the Environmental Protection Agency, but Idaho started taking primacy over that here about 4 or 5 years ago. So now they're administering that, and it's required for all construction projects that disturb more than 1 acre. If not, we can be fined, and they're pretty nasty. So we did agree to access our job site during construction off of K Avenue. That seemed more than reasonable. The third item she had mentioned was a CUNA school district. Having that MOU agreed to or signed or ratified prior to our approval. It's really rough to get into an agreement where you're required to do certain things if your project doesn't get approved. So what we have done is we have committed to provide for the mitigation things, The school district has provided us a capital improvements plan. They've given us a list of things that they would like, and we can pick from those to give an equitable cost to per lot fee that they were looking at. So we definitely have committed to do that. She had mentioned that the cut-through traffic, well, it was just mentioned in a neighborhood meeting that they tried to gate it off and people were cutting through and knocking the fence down. So at least when our equipment's there, that's gonna be a lot more difficult, but we will be building a future street. Mr. Jensen, we appreciate him standing up here and recognizing that we have been working with them. And again, we're committed to doing just that. As far as the traffic, it's an issue. As things grow, it's the improvements to intersections, the improvements to roadways, the widenings and traffic calming, roundabouts and stuff all occurs after the growth is here, because that's what's paying for it. We pay those development impact fees as for every new lot that goes in here. It just went up to $5,308 per home. So when you do the calculations, we're just under $200,000 that we're gonna contribute to that. We don't get to decide where the funds are spent. That goes to the highway district, and there's, and that gets ferreted out between the different cities and probably where some arguments occur, but we don't get to determine that. The highway district is unique in this state. It's the only one in the country that manages 4 different cities and all of Ada County. With that, I'll stand for any questions you have.
Okay, questions for Mr. Crawford?
I don't have any.
No, sir, not for Mr. Crawford.
Okay, thank you.
Is it okay if I ask one?
Yes, Mark Bybee.
Yeah, Mark Bybee, City Attorney. Dave, I just wanted to clarify, because you said you were agreeable to the conditions that Ms. Michelson identified, I think, regarding dust mitigation and the construction access off of K. Does that mean that you're fine and actually agreeable to those being conditions of approval in the decision of the council? Is that what you were getting at? I just want to clarify.
Mayor, council members, Mr. Bybee, yes.
All right. Anything further? All right, very good, thank you.
Did you have any other questions for Councilman McPherson? Do you have any other questions for? I move we close evidence presentation and move to deliberation.
Second. Motion's made and seconded to close evidence presentation and proceed to deliberation. Any further discussion on that motion?
No.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Did you want to start? Councilman McPherson, when do you want to, or you want me to go?
I don't, go-
Spit it out.
Okay. Obviously, I look at the backfill projects, but not having a road between K, or, you know, where K and the other section of Ardell is, and not having an exit to Deer Flat. Ardell already is heavy traffic going out with no red light there. And then if you go up to Hubbard, you know how that traffic is. Those are some of my concerns just about safety, and also timeline of when we can actually get those improvements done. I know we did hear about the lot size. Since it is a different developer and not with the same HOA, I think there's a little leeway there. I understand your concerns, but,
Well, and looking at the maps, lot sizes, they are 60 feet wide. Some of them are a hair under 100 feet deep, but I mean like half a foot. If you actually look at the plot map, they're right there as to what the other ones said they were. So,
they do meet the R6, which is the same area around it.
right.
I don't like the fact that we don't have some type of agreement with the school district. And I would at least like to table it and have the other things put in the, you know, if we do approve it, the development agreement, because I think you and I have spoke of some things like that before. But those are my things, traffic with, safety as an issue, not adequate improvements around there, and then the school district.
Yeah, to take the mystery out of that, K heading south to Deer Flat, ACHD has 2029, there's a proposed roundabout. So that's when that's actually, so it's 3 years out before that's going to actually open heading south.
Which intersection are you talking about?
K heading south to Deer Flat.
Okay, in Deer Flat?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, but, and I mean, nobody's developing that property that I know of, so I don't know.
Yeah, they just need to open up that road all the way through to Deer Flat.
Yeah,
But
typically,
don't-
they wait for somebody to develop it, and then.
That's what I'm
yeah.
saying, is I don't know if that's a reliable timeline where that property's not being developed. Doug?
Well, you have property, you have the Sterling Ranch property.
Yeah, so the intersection of K and Deer Flat, the intersection improvements, along with the segment of road going north to meet where K currently ends, is actually programmed in the 5-year plan with a construction year of 2029. And depending on prioritization lists that come from the city, come from the school district, that has some potential to move up as well. But we do have a construction year assigned by ACHD of 2029.
So I guess what the mayor's concern is the private property owners on the, what would be west side of K Road, have they agreed to easement for that road to be punched the other missing couple hundred feet that's there?
So I don't have those details. I can see from ACHD's plan that it is actively being designed and the land acquisition year will take place in 2028
Gotcha.
with construction in 29.
Gotcha.
Okay, so as long as there's a plan to either purchase or have some development at that property, then that timeline makes sense, but. Okay,
Yeah, I just want to second what you were talking about, Council President Bruce. I mean, like you said, right now, you're gonna dump off onto Ardell, you're gonna head east onto Ardell, and there's a stop sign there, so and it gets heavier and heavier. And then to go to Hubbard, and then I don't know when the plan was for ACHD to actually expand that Hubbard at the intersection of Meridian, but that's a real difficult intersection also, so.
I have a question for Doug.
okay.
Doug, have you heard anything about connecting Ardell, where it's missing right there, from at the intersection of K on the other side? Has that even come up in conversation?
Yeah, that particular project has been just a general subject of conversation for well over a decade. It's just a matter of that triangle is not in city limits, so, and there's no plans for development on it. That's really ultimately up to if that developer comes in and or ACHD just decides to acquire right of way from the landowner to finish those improvements.
I have a question for Troy.
Yes,
Troy,
Councilmember Rocco.
yeah, I didn't see anything specific from the fire district in the comments in the package, so can we just confirm that they're okay and there's no outstanding concerns?
For the record, Troy Behunin, CUNA DSD. Are you talking about the ACHD report?
No, I'm talking about just the fire district as far as.
Oh, the fire district?
Yeah.
If the comments aren't there, then I didn't receive them in time.
Right, so is the assumption that if we don't hear from
The
the
assumption is, yeah, if
the fi-
we don't hear anything from them, then they're okay with the
Okay, got
project.
it. And is that fairly normal? That you don't hear from the fire district?
On something like this typically, yeah, if it's a infill and it's platted good like it is, and
They'll also get a chance to comment when the construction documents come forward. Oh, I'm sorry. So there actually is getting projects mixed up. So there is a CUNA Fire District map on there,
Page 174,
174, yep.
Right, but no verbiage.
no letter.
Okay, got it, okay.
Okay,
I have a question, but I'm not sure who to address it to. Mr. Rocco seems pretty fluent in ACHD stuff, but maybe Doug would know. Is there current plans to put I know there is, but when, a traffic light at Ardell and Meridian Road.
So that would actually fall under the jurisdiction of both ACHD and ITD, since State Highway 69 is under ITD's jurisdiction. ITD, in their long-range plan or vision for the corridor, I know they have planned for signalized intersections at all of the miles and mid-miles from the entire stretch. So they do plan on it. When will that happen? I don't have a date for you.
Okay.
Okay,
I have one other question for Troy, or for
Councilmember
for Doug.
Bruce.
So, we see, I know he's not required to do a traffic study. Is that something that the city can request and pay for just for that whole area? I know because it's only a small lot size, but we still have several concerns of traffic going both directions and north. You know, because I am concerned about the safety of the people around it.
So are you referring more to just traffic counts or a full-blown traffic study?
Maybe traffic counts, or you explain both.
Yeah, so traffic counts I think can be done at the request of ACHD. They'll set up a traffic counter to see the number of vehicle trips, but as far as an engineered traffic study, that would be far more difficult. On average, those cost anywhere from $40,000 to $60,000 to prepare. And I should clarify, that's for a very straightforward project. If it gets larger and more complex, you're going to exceed that amount.
And we oftentimes ask for those traffic counts, so that happens quite often.
I mean, those are my concerns. I at least table it with the school district and the other stuff put in the development agreement. I mean, I'm concerned about traffic in that whole area in general, as a safety concern. Mark?
Mark Bybee, City Attorney. I just wanted to clarify, there's not a development agreement on this. I think what you're probably referring to is just getting those conditions of approval into the decision, which that could be done tonight, the conditions of approval. Just, the motion would basically need to provide, we approve with these additional conditions kind of thing and identify the conditions. And one more clarification, and I think you already know where I'm going here, Councilman Bruce. One of those conditions, in my opinion, should not include a condition requiring them to enter an MOU with the school district, just because I don't think the city would be on solid legal footing compelling that.
And I'm not asking for that, but we need something from the school district saying that they've come to some agreement, whether it's a letter or something, because once we're done here, if they don't have anything in writing, how do we know that? I mean, I know you have it in there, but we can't add it to what we're deciding.
I know, and I understand where you're coming from. You're hoping if they wait until that's done, that they will for sure do it. And the point I'm making, it's, as I said, it's my opinion. I don't think the city can compel that MOU to be entered under current, just how state law is at this time. And so the waiting is just, you're not going to get to a point from waiting where you can compel it, is my opinion.
Right. But you see where I'm coming from is like, we're making decisions that are gonna impact the school district. And saying, yes, we have an agreement, but, we don't know what it is, or we don't know when we'll get it, or,
Yeah.
you know, how do we make that decision and say we're comfortable with that when we don't know?
I understand where you're coming from, and I hope you understand where I'm coming from. On the flip side of this is that, let's say you table it, at what point, if they come back, let's say in a month, they haven't come to an agreement, do we table again? And
No,
again,
I mean, at that point, then we would have a letter from the school district saying that they have no agreement with the developer, right? And we still look at the impact on schools.
and I guess the issue being if the mitigation they're seeking is in the form of fees or financial compensation in some way.
And we don't ever get into the fees. We usually have a letter that says we either partnered or we haven't.
Okay.
You know, I don't need numbers. I don't need what they're doing. I just want something for the record, because we can't go back and add that letter tonight, correct?
Can't add that letter. You do have the comments of the school district, and I guess that.
And I know what you're trying
I
to stay
think I've said,
legalistic, but
yeah, I
but
think
I'm
I've
looking out for the community, which is, I get it. I want to make sure that they're taken care of if we do approve it.
Okay.
So, Council President Bruce, are you, as far as the approval with conditions, would it be one about the school document and also for a traffic count request from ACHD?
I mean, that would be something, that I think we could just request for that area.
Mm.
I mean, like I said, at some point, we've gotten to the point with traffic in our city where it's not only a safety issue, but how do we determine it's a safety issue? If we say, hey, we can't look at counts or we can't do a study, but you drive down it, you know, right? You know there's no intersection there. You know there's no connection here.
Mhm.
You know, at what point do we say, you know, enough? And that's my thoughts.
Mark, so I know that they closed the evidence presentation. Would it be possible, because Troy now has that letter, to read that letter from the school into evidence?
Yeah, you could read, sorry, Mark Bybee, City Attorney, yes, you could read that into evidence if that's how you wish to try and get it into the record, yes.
I'm just wondering if that would maybe satisfy,
I mean, I think it would handle
because
that
basically all
aspect.
you're asking for is that they're comfortable with the agreement they have with the,
Now, whatever they do with it on their side, at least we know for our decision-making that we've seen it or heard it.
okay?
I mean, that's, yeah. Are you okay with opening the evidence presentation? I move we reopen the evidence presentation and accept evidence from the letter from the school district.
Second.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. And Troy, if you would be so kind.
Do I need to vote on that?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is Troy Behunin, CUNA DSD. Would you like me to read the email as well, or just the letter from the CUNA School District?
I'd be okay with the letter.
Okay.
And the date received.
Date received was was received 12/8, which was after the requested time frame. Packets for the commission had already gone out. So the letter states, Dear Commissioners and City Council members, CUNA School District has reviewed the application for Test Manor subdivision and provides the following comments for your consideration. To reduce our reliance on bonds and to promote reasonable growth within our district, we generally seek partnerships with residential developers. Partnerships with the developers mitigate the impact homes will have on the CUNA School District and our ability to deliver services without compromising the quality of service delivery to current residents or imposing substantial additional costs upon current residents to accommodate proposed subdivisions or other developments. See Idaho Code State Statute 67-6513. We are currently working with the developer on a partnership with the CUNA School District, but no official agreement has been reached. An amended letter will be submitted based on the outcome of the continued conversation with the development team. Regards, Tim Jensen, KSD, Director of Growth and Development.
Okay, all good? All right,
Mr. Mayor, I have a question for Mark.
okay, go ahead.
Mark, so the resident from Birds of Prey testified that in 2024 he had contact with a John Watson or Watkins from ACHD, and they did agree that that one particular intersection was a problem, and they put a stop sign up. And now he's having additional conversation with ACHD. Is it unreasonable for this council to ask for ACHD to come and actually present to us more information or detail about traffic in that area?
Mark Bybee, City Attorney. I don't know that this is necessarily a legal question as it relates to this application. You can always ask ACHD to come in. You're kind of getting at a more cooperation between different local government entities. I think actually there's supposed to be a presentation by ACHD even tonight. But you can always come and ask for that. I'd say in the context of this application though, like how does it bear on this approval or denial, what's before you tonight? And if it bears on that, okay, table for the purpose of having that presentation, but before, holding up this application for that presentation, I think you need to ask the question yourself, how would this actually impact the outcome?
And I have a question.
Councilmember Bruce.
And maybe you can get to this. How do we determine when, like we can tell that it's dangerous there, right? Or our thoughts with lack of traffic lights or connectors. How do we put that in a legal finding so that if we're uncomfortable with that, we can either postpone the project or look for data that we need, in your legal opinion, right? Because that's where we're at, and it's happening all over the city, but yet we get to the point where it's like we can't deny it because of traffic, even though it is dangerous. Where do we find that in your legal handbook there? It says, look, we know we don't have an intersection here, and we're concerned about the level of traffic in that area of town, but yet, from what we always hear is, well, you can't necessarily deny it because of that. But yet then it impacts our community, not only safety, but quality of life. How do we find that? How do we get to that?
So, Mark Bybee, City Attorney, going to do my best to answer this because it implicates a lot of things. Because I'm going to answer it first in the context of what application you're looking at, but also make reference to like zoning applications as well. This one's a pre-plat application, right?
Right.
And so, part of the issue here is what you're approving. I don't think traffic is actually a relevant criteria when approving a pre-plat because you're, like I've said in other hearings,
Right.
I'm going to say it here for the record, you're ultimately approving a drawing, and does the drawing comply with the standards we've set for that drawing, right? But to not just be dismissive of this question, I know you're getting at more in a rezone. Okay, now you're getting to this question of we're going to allow a zoning on this parcel that increases the density and, if built out at the maximum allowed density, what would we expect in traffic trips and that kind of things from this parcel? And if you're receiving testimony, okay, you have evidence format 1 is a traffic impact study. That is evidence that you're asked to consider. You're acting in quasi-judicial capacity as council members. So you say, okay, we have this evidence. This is what the traffic impact study says about this. This is, this is how we as a council weigh that. This is how it affects us and persuades us one way or the other. Versus I'm receiving other evidence, and the other evidence would often be is often in the form of public comment about traffic, and maybe it relates to a specific intersection. And so you're weighing two different forms of evidence and deciding which one persuades you towards a decision. Does that make sense? And so I think it's the TIS versus the public comment. Maybe there could be other things. And if let's say you make a determination on the basis, let's say you are more persuaded by the public comment than you are by the TIS. I think the question that comes up then is if you were to deny a rezone on that basis, let's say we get to a judicial review, I think the question is going to be evaluated and considered, was that a reasonable determination in light of what the evidence was? And I will say that cities are given quite a bit of discretion by the court to weigh and review and consider evidence that's presented to them. I'm not going to promise an outcome, but I am going to point to what the case law is clear, is that the court is deferential to the weighing of evidence by the council, because the council was, the way the courts will treat is they say you are in a better position to review and weigh the evidence than we are. We're just reviewing it after the fact, and so they tend to be quite deferential. I don't know if that's helpful, if that answers the question, but I think that type of weighing is a lot more appropriate in a rezone application than it is in a pre-plat application.
Mayor, may I make a comment?
Oh, Chief.
Mike Fertusco, Chief of Police, City of Cuna, 793 West 4th Street. Mayor, council members, being the Chief of Police, I have access to all the crash data. I can look up
or have my guys look up any area for crash data and able to give you that information. So if one of you wanted to reach out to me and had a specific intersection you wanted information on, either Deputy Jones or Deputy Gamma, who are our traffic enforcement team, will look that up and will give me those numbers. I can tell you right now, looking at the crash numbers, I sent you guys out the monthly report recently. Our crash data is staying flat the last few years. So we're not seeing a large increase in crashes. That's the information I have on hand. We are out there enforcing traffic laws, making those stops, hitting those hot areas. The other thing is we work with John Wasson all the time. We get that information from them when they are doing speed studies. They do speed studies constantly in the city of Kuna. Every time somebody calls ACHD and they want a traffic count speed study, John Wasson's team's coming out there. They are doing those all the time. They're able to tell us if it meets criteria for extra traffic enforcement, if people are generally speeding in that area, and then we will hit those areas to help calm the traffic down in those areas.
Thank you.
Okay.
I move we close evidence presentation, move to deliberation.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to close the evidence presentation and proceed to deliberation. Any discussion on that motion?
Nope.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I'm gonna go back, I think, with this being a plat, preliminary plat, a lot of the time has already passed, for us to look at those areas. I do think we need to look at traffic as a whole, however we decide to do that. We've met the conditions, that the testifier has spoke to, and we read the letter into the school district. Now, typically when we get a letter from them, they either have a partnership or they don't. It doesn't say they do. That may be a concern if you wanted to table it until we have a more standard letter, because at this point, if they don't have some type of agreement, we don't need to know what it is, but then that would fall back onto the school to carry that burden if it doesn't work out. That's kind of where I'm at. Other than that, I think there's not much more way for us to, even if we were tonight to give him a path forward. To come back here, it would be to figure out something with the school district's all I see.
Yeah, I don't feel it's necessary to table it just for the more specificity of what that partnership is going to be. I feel that we move forward.
I think so too. I mean, certain developers you would worry about what's gonna happen. I don't have that feeling with this one. And the school district feels comfortable with, their, continued meetings they've had and whatever, so I'm good with moving forward.
Okay. I'll stand for a motion if you guys. Mr. Mayor, just for the record, it is case number 25-06 PP, correct?
Yes.
2506S. It is case number 25-06-S when you make the motion.
Not PP.
Or just S, no dash.
Is it just us?
25.
Yeah, I motion that we approve case number 25-06-S for approval.
We want to state what the conditions in the packet as well as the, yeah.
Sorry, was the motion for approval? Did I hear that right? So based on what Mr. Crawford said he would agree to, is if there's to be conditions to be added, as my understanding, condition 1 is that there will be a dust mitigation plan implemented and followed during the construction period. Does that sound accurate, Mr. Crawford? I'm just going to say for the record, he threw his hand in the air in a way that suggested he agrees. And then the other one being that construction access will be off of K Avenue and not through the residential streets for the existing subdivision. And for the record, Mr. Crawford's nodding his head.
Okay.
So with the outlined conditions stated by Attorney Bybee, I would second that motion.
Okay,
Second.
motion is made and seconded for approval. Is there any further discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? That motion carries. All right, that takes us to chapter 3A, Park Standards and Requirements. Chris Regley, Parks Director.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. For the record, Chris Regley, Director of Parks and Rec, 371 Short Line, Kuna, Idaho. We are submitting to you an updated version of our park standards and requirements for the use of developers and interested parties who wish to construct a city park in Kuna. Some of the changes we have made are the number of size and requirements of the picnic shelters that must be constructed in parks depending on the acreage they intend to use. The new standards are requirements spell out the materials, colors, designs, and require our city parks to have them pertaining to the items such as dugouts, benches, tables, trash cans, structures, etc. It also includes the dimensions for regulation pickleball courts and softball fields if they are to be included in the park. We are hoping for these changes to simplify the direction of upcoming parks. We feel these changes will set our growing community up for success moving forward. Thank you.
Okay, and these are discussion items, so we're kind of putting them before you to look them over. It's not anything you're gonna make a decision on tonight. If you have comment, or if you wanna take more time to look them over and get back later, you can do that also. It's kinda up to you on what you wanna do.
I appreciate some of the work here, so.
I do.
And then I think the same thing's gonna be for the next one. Just a quick note, that's actually chapter 3, title 7, rather than chapter 2, title 7. But since they're discussion items, it's not terribly important to have that on the agenda officially, but. And I don't know what, if you ready to, we can just let him move into the next one and.
Thank you, Chris.
So Chris, yeah, if you wanna do the bicycle and scooter amendments.
Sure. Again, for the record, Chris Regley, Director of Parks and Recreation. I am submitting to you an amended city codes for our parks and sidewalks, detailing the usage and restrictions on e-bikes and e-scooters, etc. This is before you as a result of a combined effort from our Parks Department, Police Chief Mike Fertusco, and the City Attorney Mark Bybee. This issue is we are having with these e-bikes and scooters travel. The issue, that we are having with these e-bikes and scooters is that they travel at speeds that make them a hazard to the riders and the pedestrians who are also trying to use the public spaces. Hills and berms are being used throughout our parks as jumps and are creating ruts and destroying the grass and landscape. The changes we are submitting would set forth needed limitations and would allow the ability to cite individuals who are using these devices on unauthorized pathways or sidewalks, speeding or damaging city property with an administrative citation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I do have a question for Chris,
Yes,
Mr. Mayor.
go ahead, Councilmember Rocco.
Chris, as you know, evidenced by that, that you actually have a job applications out for 4 additional positions with Parks and Rec, which is an indication, obviously, there's a need as the parks continues to expand. As you think about your 2027 budget, are you concerned at all about that expansion and that there's going to be more needs for the following year?
I would say, I wouldn't use the word concerned. I would say that we are definitely anticipating our department growing because we have to as parks come online, and the work doesn't stop at the existing parks that we already take care of. Within our department, our events also, keep growing. There's not an aspect of our parks department that doesn't continue to grow. So we are paying a close attention to that.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Yes,
On
Councilmember Bruce.
on the update to the bike and scooter amendments, and maybe the chief can speak to this. I know there's several pieces of legislation that are traveling through the House right now. These won't overlap, or should we wait until the end of the session before we implement these? to see if those take effect, because those may give you extra tools to handle it, rather than us needing to create something at the city level.
Mayor, Councilman Bruce, for the record, Mike Fratusco, Chief of Police, City of Cuna, 793 West 4th Street. I do agree if the legislation passes, that's going to give us some more teeth. I don't think that's going to cross over when it comes to riding in the parks, that city property itself. I think the green belt, the berms, the bike park, I think this is needed. Speaking with what you're talking about as far as the e-bikes driving in the road at high speeds, I do think that if there is laws passed and if legislation passes, that's really going to help us. I think right now we're keen into what is going on in our parks and the fact that these e-bikes are so fast, and I'm talking some of them 40 to 50 miles an hour, driving up the sidewalks. We're constantly getting calls on them. I'm afraid that somebody is going to get hit on that green belt. Some kid, some elderly couple, some 20-year-old, they get hit by one of those bikes. This is really going to show that the city is taking initiative to stop this. We can start implementing the administrative citations that it hits the kids or the whoever's doing it, $25 here, $50 there, and hopefully kind of curb that. If legislation passes, that's just going to give us more teeth.
I have a follow-up.
Yes.
And then I'd like to do some type of, maybe, awareness, whether it's on Facebook or through our utility service or even through a school district, to let people know that we've changed this so that the parents can notify their children as well. You know, hey, be on the lookout. This is what we're going to implement so that they can have the conversation with their kids or adults in the house who use them, just so they're not all caught off guard, so that we put out some type of information about it.
Council President Bruce, I do believe that if we put that on our Facebook page and the city puts that on their Facebook page, that'll get out very quick. We all know CUNA Must Know travels very fast. So once that gets out, everybody should know.
I think the school district would probably be amenable to doing that also. That would be very helpful on their pages.
Yeah. I just think it would be good to notify everybody, so.
Yeah. Mark?
Mark Bybee, City Attorney. This Councilman Bruce, just a little more to your question about the state legislation. From and what Chief said, and my understanding is it sounds like that legislation is targeted at use on the streets, where this stuff is targeted at use in parks, greenbelt, and sidewalks. So I think we're regulating different things, like same devices, but different uses in different places, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I was just looking at it. It talks about bicyclists.
Yep.
So I was just making sure we weren't.
I don't think we are. I was sensitive to that
Overlapping.
because there's quite a bit of legislation that already exists, or statutory law that exists already related to use of bicycles and such. And so we were trying to avoid that overlap and conflict, and really trying to focus on what's happening in our parks, what's happening on our greenbelt, what's happening on our sidewalks.
And honestly, I had no idea e-bikes had lobbyists.
I didn't until you just said that, but apparently you're learning that at the legislature.
They do. Thank you, Chief.
And when is the legislature going home? You're ready now, I bet.
It's a lot. But the e-bikes are dangerous, and actually, for our state law, they don't even have to yield. You know?
Oh, they will when they play chicken with you down Main Street, trust
Yeah.
me. Maybe not in your car, but my truck, they gave real
Yeah.
fast.
I do appreciate you guys looking
Rule of
into that,
abundance.
no.
Okay. All right, and that is kind of all we have tonight. I can probably address a couple of the updates that were requested. We are negotiating with the school district on the 4th Street gym. We're trying to kind of work our way through logistics. They still need use of that's where they have all their IT stuff. They still need use of those offices off to the side, and they do have some stuff in storage there.
Both of us have said that it's not an emergency on either side, so we'll take our time and look at that. Once we come to some kind of a formal agreement, we'll have to do a little more due diligence to actually get a good full assessment on the building and see what's in there as far as lead paint or whatever else might pop up. So we're working through that.
There was the PD, the insurance accident.
What's that?
There was, one of the questions was about the PD and the insurance and,
Yeah, the police bike.
contingency, yeah.
I don't know, do you have information on, I mean, I think the question had to do more with,
Was the insurance
we
paid?
fronted money and then we got insurance money, so.
Yeah, Jared, MP City Treasurer. So, as part of that, we did get an insurance claim check, I believe, at the end of November, maybe early December. I don't recall what the settlement was, but it wasn't enough to cover the full cost of a new bike, and so we're working through that.
And from what I heard today, apparently it was good we got those ordered in time. The state police have gotten theirs. They're finishing up the state police, so they go to the bike shop over there, and then they add all the extra goodies that we need on them to make them police bikes. So ours are next in line, and they're in and over there, I think. So we should have those back probably in a month or so to get them in service. So it's a good thing that we were able to get that done. Otherwise, I think we'd have been way down the list. Probably would have been next year before we got them in. So I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that, Chief.
Mayor, council members, Mike Fertusco, Chief of Police, City of Cuna. Yes, if we didn't get those bikes in, we'd be waiting for the brand new models. All of our gear was purchased. It's the way it works is the city pays for the motorcycles, they're city-owned motorcycles. Then through the contract, we purchase all the law enforcement equipment, we put it on the motorcycle, and we insure the rider. So we'll get our motorcycle back, we just won't have our rider back for a while still. So he's okay if I share it with you. He had surgery. We're looking at probably 3 more months. But he's itching to get back. He's
He's
He's like a caged tiger, I'm
You
sure.
can only watch so much Price is Right.
Yeah.
there's only so much phone reports I can make him take from a desk, so.
We are gonna park the new bike in an area where he has to walk by it frequently. So we want him to suffer a little bit having to look at that bike and not being able to ride it.
So is he working out of next door here?
Yes, because he had surgery, he's at home right now, but he emailed me today telling me that he thinks he's getting his stitches out and he wants to come back, and I told him that he needs to do what the doctor tells him, so.
I mean, I was itching to call him a couple times a day just to harass him, but.
Mr. Mayor,
And then, time limits on, did you have
yeah,
something?
Chief, what was the approximate cost of the purchase of that bike? Do you recall?
The approximate cost of the fully loaded motorcycle,
Well, before you add on what you said the county was picking up. all
Sure.
the- No, I'm just talking about what did it cost the city for the bike?
it's I believe it's 47,000 or 45,000.
45, I thought.
45,000.
Got it.
And those bikes, because the way they're insured and the depreciation on them, you're looking at a 3-year rotation because you're putting so much high mileage on them. So, and that's what we do with the BMWs that the other motor officers in Eagle are riding. They get rotated
Yeah,
every 3 years.
You know, Jared, I know you said that you don't know the exact figure, but how close were we to that 40-something thousand figure?
Jared, MP City Treasurer. So if I had to venture a guess just from memory, since it's been a while, I want to say we got about 25,000 back. So there was a shortfall.
And we had mileage on that one.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as time limits on developments and development agreements and those type of things, the ones that we're working on moving forward will have that. And I don't know where we're at on, there's a couple of older ones, but I think we're probably, I don't know, Doug, if you, I think you've looked at those and found what's out there yet.
Yeah, so for the record, Doug Hansen, Planning and Zoning Director, we have gone into GIS and we now have an internal layer that can tell us all of the project development agreements that we have on file and whether they're built out, completed, dissolved, or active. So we're going through those one by one to determine the long-standing development agreements that are still active, that if they're in default or if they're like pursuing them diligently. If the answer to that question is no, we'll work on bringing those back before the commission and the council to dissolve those development agreements. But we really have to focus more on the new items. It's hard to retroactively go back and change these things.
Thank you.
Yep.
And then I guess the last thing there was the diode project. It is true that the majority of testimony on that project was against it. However, a great deal of that testimony was because of using Locust Grove as an access. And once it was determined that that was an emergency access only, a lot of that testimony, the one guy even said I was all for it until I saw that they were using Locust Grove. So that's what made me go the other way, was because I think that made the balance shift the other direction. So it is in a lawsuit, and that kind of has to do with a neighbor that doesn't like it being there. So we're still waiting to hear back on what all that's about. So that's kind of where that project sits right now, and I think that was the 4 items mentioned.
Yeah, it was.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyway, okay. Anybody have anything else? Chris, thank you for your work. I know they're hammering you hard down there at the legislature, and I think you're doing the one thing I really appreciate about you is you do your due diligence, and you don't vote on things blindly. So that part I do appreciate.
It's a lot of bills to read.
There's a lot of bills, man. They've been popping up. I've been working really hard at keeping up with all of them, and then I didn't look Monday, and I came in today, and there was over 60 new House bills and, I don't know, 30-some Senate bills on the list that I hadn't seen yet. So
Yeah, they read, I
they
think,
just hammer them up.
I think they read 20-something across the desk today, so, of new ones.
Yeah.
So it's getting a little carried away.
Well, hopefully you can get some rest somewhere in between, but thank you for your work on that.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And that's all we have? Good. All right, meeting is adjourned.